Baruch Hashem. Amen. Amen. I sung, by the way, 3 really easy pieces. Stevie, 22 years in a row. Russell Spags, 43 years in a row. And my brother Cody is celebrating his bar mitzvah with 13 years in a row. It's only appropriate that the Jew announces the guy with the bar mitzvah. And in fact, we were outside Little River, where, believe it or not, there's a statue built to Russell because he is the only person to ever lead a step series and be asked to be removed physically from the facility. I can attest to that because I am officially Russell's banana, and I was beside him when they came up to him and said, "Shh, you won't be coming back next time." But they invited him back. So that tells me one of 2 things. Either these people are really gluttons for punishment, or they really get the message. You know? So let me talk a little bit about this deal with my commitment to the Lord and how it evolved. So here I am, a follower as a young child. There were leaders and followers, and I was a follower because I wanted what you had and I was willing to go to any length to get it. But here I am at 7, 8, and 9 years old, and I wanted to be liked by everybody, so I hung out with the cool kids and I became one of the cool kids because I did what the cool kids did. You know, it's so funny, I was sitting in a meeting the other day and the guy talks about, I'm sitting at a bar and I'm drinking, and this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey man, I just tried these new pills and they're really, really amazing. And I'm really not sure what they're called or what they are exactly." And the guy turns to him and says, "I'll take 3 of those." I mean, that was me. That was me. And my buddy Pat Rogan is so amazing when I hear him share. You know, here I am earning $80 a week and having a $300 a week habit. You know, this was my life. You know, and of course, the dulcet tones of Uncle Russell when he says, "I spent money I didn't have to buy things that I didn't need to impress people I didn't like." And these are all little nuggets that resounded with me, that really struck me in my core. You know, it's absolutely amazing. And then I go through a real trial in my life. And you know, let me just backtrack for a second. You know, being a nice Jewish boy, I have to give you a little bit of Jewism into this story. So, how many of you have seen the old what's the movie with Charlton Heston? Yeah, that, what?
10 Commandments?
The 10 Commandments, that deal. Yeah, the whole law thing that Cody was talking about earlier. So, you have this vision of Moses on the mountain, white flowing hair, long flowing beard, receiving the 10 Commandments. And he turns to the burning bush and he says, "Who are you?" And he says, "I am." And I had no idea what that meant. But then I walk into the East Naples men's group for the first time in December of 2005, and I see this man standing at the front of the room, and he has white flowing hair and a long flowing beard, and I go up to him and I say, "Who are you?" And he looks at me and he says, "I'm Paul Baker." And I wanted what he had, and I was willing to go to any length to get it. Only what he had was recovery. What I didn't realize is that at the time, he also had an amazing relationship with God. But I wasn't ready for that yet. Because Mommy had told me at a very, very young age, if I'm a bad boy, God's going to punish me. And then I hit this huge trial in my life in year 14 of my sobriety. My sobriety dates December 4th of 2005. And yes, I am way deep in my 19th year of sobriety. just as deep as Stevie is in his 23rd year, and Cody is in his 14th year. And Russell will remind everybody how deep he is in his 44th year, so, for the next year. So I hit this real trial at 14 years, and I divorced my wife after 34 years of marriage. The first 20 were okay, the last 14, not so much. So we separate and we divorce, and my children part themselves from my life and take my innocent little grandchildren with them. And the great Paul, with his white flowing hair and his beautiful flowing beard, turns to me and he says, "My son, you will need to have a relationship with God. You will need to be in service." And it was so great, my brother Stevie, God bless you, I love you. Dan, you made me cry this morning, bro. I love being in service. Have any of you ever worked on a farm? If you work on a farm, there are people who have different positions on that farm. There are the guys out there who are turning the earth and watering and nurturing the soil and making sure it's all prepared. And then there's the guys who plant the seeds. The guys like Stevie, the guys like Russell, the guys like Rogan, the guys like Marinelli, who just plant the seeds, man. I'm the guy who turns the soil. Yeah, sure. We all have our testimony, but the truth of the matter is, these are the seed planters in my life. And there's only one who makes the seeds grow. One who makes the seeds grow. I'm so blessed to hang around all of these beautiful, beautiful farmers. And as I'm curled up in the fetal position on the floor of my bed, screaming out, "God, I don't want to drink, and I'm in so much pain. Where can I turn?" And I felt this beautiful warmth come over my body that I had never ever felt before. And it wasn't that punishing God that Mommy said, if you're a bad boy, God's going to punish you. It was that warm, loving, benevolent, kind, embracing God that said, "I've got you. I've got you, boy. All you got to do is reach out for me and I'll be there." And He's been there. And He has been there. And when I made that difficult decision 2.5 years ago to change my sponsor and move away from Moses and move on to one of the followers, I prayed on that as well, because it was a difficult decision in my recovery. But it was a decision that I needed to make because my life was going through a serious change. I was no longer the guy who I was when I first came in here, and I had evolved, my recovery had evolved, and my position in life had evolved. So I made a change to decide to make my sponsor somebody who lived a more similar lifestyle to what I was living. As it turns out, his sponsor is Paul Baker. But that's okay, because inevitably I wanted what he had, and I was willing to go to any length to get it. So, life changes. The Lord reaches out to me, I reach out to Him, we reach out to each other. I develop this amazing relationship, and I fall in love with Jesus Christ. As a young kid, I used to watch Jesus Christ Superstar, listen to that music, and I always loved it, and for something about it touched me. And there was just something that I could identify with in that whole opera that just really, really meant something to me. It warmed my heart. I liked that guy. I loved that guy. I loved everything that he stood for. He seemed like the type of guy I could hang out with. Now he's my best friend. Now he's who I wake up with every single morning. I want to share a little devotional that I read the other morning, and it really, really touched me. It says, marriage involves the public act of leaving. making a lifelong commitment to your partner that takes priority even over your parental relationships. It involves being united with one's partner. The Hebrew word means literally glued together, not just physically and biologically, but emotionally, psychologically, socially, and spiritual. This is the Christian context of the one flesh union. The biblical doctrine of marriage is the most exciting and positive one that exists. It is also the most romantic view. It sets before us God's perfect plan. On October 21st of this year, under the eyes of the Lord and our God, I asked a beautiful angel to be my wife. You see, she knew the Lord long before I did. And the first time I saw her, I wanted what she had, and I was willing to go to any lengths to get it. You see, she had a knowledge of Bible, she had a knowledge of Jesus, and she had a little bit of knowledge of recovery. And on October 21st, my brother Stevie was under the altar with me. And Rachel was under the altar with me, and our pastor was under the altar with us. And she said, I do. My life has never, ever, ever been better. And yeah, we went through a little bit of a trial, didn't we, Woody? You see, we made this decision. Well, she made this decision. All right, we made this decision to live a celibate life as it's stated in the Bible. And it was the most difficult challenge that she was fine, I ever had. And I seek counsel from Pastor Michael Woodham. And he turns to me, and I say to him, Michael, I can't do this, Pastor Woody. It's not what I meant to do. I'm a 60-year-old man, and I have needs, and I have wants, and I have wants, and I have needs. And he looks me straight in the face and says, what's the matter, boy? Can't have her? Why don't you grow up? Kicked me right where it really counted. And yes, I resented him for it. And I was angry because, damn him, he told the truth. And I love you for that, man. I love you for that. I may not have felt it at the time because I don't know if you know this about alkies, we're a little bit defiant. And when we don't hear what we want to hear, we get a little rebellious. We get a little angsty. And then reality sets in and we say to ourselves, oh, wow, well, maybe the words weren't so nice, but the message was just. And you know what, Woody? When we got married on October 21st, it really, really complemented everything that we had gone through over the year prior and the sacrifices that we made. Because today we have a line of communication between us that is beyond anything I could have ever imagined. No matter what life throws at us, we're able to speak to each other because we were forced to speak to each other because we didn't have any other alternative. We couldn't just jump in the sack and make it all go away, now could we? No, we had to work through our stuff, didn't we? Rachel, come up here, please. Come here. You introduced me to God, you introduced me to the Lord, you introduced me to your family who loves the Lord as much as you do. And you brought me a life that I could never, ever have imagined could be so beautiful and so complete. And in front of our fellows, I just want to tell you how grateful I am for everything you bring into my life. I love you very much.